to the Roland GRIMES, not just sports and entertainment show. We're here on the campus of Howard University in Northwest Washington, D.C. Today, we're going to be talking to members of the Howard University Lacrosse program. Lacrosse has a storied history here in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area and across the United States of America and all over the world. We're going to talk about that history today, and we're going to meet some people who are intricately involved in the Howard University Lacrosse program and other programs across the country. Hey folks, thank you for joining us. Roland GRIMES, not just sports entertainment show. Sit tight, you will enjoy
Hey folks, once again, welcome to the Roland GRIMES, not just sports and entertainment show. I have Coach Rick Perry here, Howard University Lacrosse. Rick, my pleasure, man. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Good to meet you also.
Tell me this.
Yes.
What is it about lacrosse that made you decide to get involved with it here at Howard University?
Well, first of all, I came to Howard University back in the mid-'80s, and it was no lacrosse team. There were four gentlemen who pulled it together: Rick Fulcher, Eric Shields, Bennett White,
And how long ago was this now?
this was since 1988.
Okay.
And they were out here, guys were out here doing their thing. You know, they said they put a flyer in each one of the dormitories.
So they were promoting the program.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all came out with the sticks and started playing, and ended up with some games against some really good teams, such as University of Maryland, Loyola, and Catholic University, Georgetown, Penn State. We had a chance to play against all those club teams as well as some of the actual.
Now, you were a coach at the time, or you were a student?
I was a student.
And playing?
Student.
Is that right?
Yes,
now,
sir.
where are you originally from?
Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay, now, did you play lacrosse in high school?
I played lacrosse in high school my first year. Ran into a little politics my sophomore year as I was a captain of the team.
Okay.
Of the JV team, and went on and ran track from that point because of the politics.
Yeah, Okay. Now, look, from a historical standpoint, I know that certain sports like lacrosse and hockey, from a historical standpoint, have not been very favorable toward African Americans over the years for whatever reason. Is some of that changing right now? Are we changing it, or do we still have a long upward climb ahead of us?
I like to say the culture of Americans, the youth of Americans are more acceptable to different nationalities playing lacrosse.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. You still have the old regime that's there that still thinks that lacrosse is a good sport that should
be kept for the old boy network.
And it's kind of, and that's another thing. It's
There's
the
a cost involved with lacrosse. Does that cost make it prohibitive to people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Where does the cost come from?
Well, the stick.
The stick
can run you anywhere from $30 to $300. Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Well, so can a football helmet and shoulder pad?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The equipment, things like that, and of course,
it doesn't generate enough revenue.
That type of equipment is more personal.
It's more personal equipment.
Yeah. So and you have more personal where you just don't turn your equipment into the sports.
Gotcha. You take it home with you.
You take it home with you. So
so you have to make a personal investment in this sport at an early age in order to develop the skills.
Arm pads.
That stuff is yours.
Rib
it doesn't go to somebody next year.
Rib protectors.
Gotcha.
Yeah, shoulder pads. They're a little more personal. Yeah, arm pads. It's no different.
Okay, so look, I have a young man out there. He's 9 years old. He's an athlete, interested in learning more about the sport. How would you recommend that person get involved with the sport? Let's say, he's not at the age yet where he's in high school and playing. He's, basically playing AAU basketball or something, wants to do something else in the spring. How does he get involved or introduced to this sport?
Well, you need a stick, get a ball, a pair of gloves, lacrosse gloves, get your personal, get against a wall, practice. Learn about the Boys and Girls Clubs in the neighborhood.
Okay.
A lot of Boys and Girls Clubs in the neighborhood actually have them. You'd be surprised. All over, even Prince George's County. I coach U11, which are 9 and 10-year-olds in Bowie.
Okay.
And at Bowie Boys and Girls Club. It's amazing how many African Americans are actually playing my team. Just as a matter of fact, I think by chance I ended up having a team 85% African American men last year, mainly because they were just starting. I coached the B team.
Okay.
And it was just getting started.
Okay.
And I introduced the stick handling, scooping, passing, how the sport's played, and pretty good. Okay. Year, so.
Coach Rick Perry, Howard University Lacrosse. Give me an example of a typical day for a college student at Howard University involved in your lacrosse program.
Okay. Well, because it's a club sport, I do encourage them first focusing on their education, making sure they get their academics done. We boast a 3.2 average of our team, grade point average, which is great, and I hope they keep it that way. I would hate to have a club player removed from our team, which I would. So first and foremost, what's most important is make sure they get the academics together. We do have 3 practices a week at this point. We practice on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. This is out of season right now. Seasons normally start in spring, so around the February time frame, we start our academics, our league then.
Okay.
Our goal is to be a part of the National Lacrosse League, which they will actually set the schedule for us.
Okay. Real quick, when does the Howard University lacrosse season begin?
February, mid-February.
Now, do you do preseason or off-season training this time of the year, November, December?
Absolutely, that's what we're doing right now. We have played some fall ball, and we are presently going to be a part of a combine today, which is a big deal. And anyone can go to our website and see how we've done after today, which will be at www.bison-lax.com. Then we're going to have an alumni day, so some of the cats that played here back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s are coming out to play. So I see some old bones over there right now getting ready. They're kind of warming up now, so I'm kind of excited.
Sounds like a great day. Hey, I understand that the people involved in your lacrosse program are doing very well academically at this point. What kind of culture are you establishing here to help those young men involved with your program maintain their academic excellence?
Just life management. Academics first, making sure their health is good. Not necessarily one is more important than the other right now, but their health, academics, and coming out and being involved. And I think this being a part of the athletics, when you're just getting away from home for the first time as a college student, having athletics in your life actually helps you.
It helps you manage your time and stay balanced, correct? Okay.
Time management.
Super. Now, right now, are they participating with you 1 or 2 days a week, 3 days a week in terms of their conditioning?
3 days a week.
Okay.
Yes.
And you work around their classes, or they set the classes around that workout schedule?
Yeah, we have to do it at nighttime, right after 7:30. 7:30 is normal time for getting together and practicing or training with agility, speed, or whatever we're going to be working on.
Coach Perry, I understand that you're a Bison.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about your experience as a student athlete here at Howard University.
Well, I came to Howard University I started off as a music major and electrical engineering major freshman year. That wasn't happening. That was just way too much work. I was also in a marching band and things like that, so I was pretty heavily involved. A lot of people already may know them between '84 and '87. I actually was the mascot at Howard University also, so when you said I was a Bison, yeah, I was actually the mascot.
You was the Bison.
I was the Bison, I was Big Blue. But also, my last 2 years, I was here for like 5 years, so 5.5 years. But I was here with, playing with the lacrosse team shortly thereafter, being the mascot.
Now, they actually started the lacrosse program while you were here, or was it already in itself?
My last year, yes.
Okay. And what made you decide who was it that influenced you, or what made you decide to get involved with it your senior year in college?
When I saw the guys out here playing, I knew I had to be a part of the growth and hopefully the continuity of the team, which of course I fell off, but now I'm back, and hopefully I can get more of the alumni out, again, to be a part of this, and we can help these guys not have to fight with the administration as much and just do our own thing.
And if people want to lend any kind of support to your program, are they able to access you through the website?
Yes, sir. Please go to www.bison-lax.com and click on the donate tab. And if you donate something, we will also send you a little gift. We do appreciate that.
Okay, super. The last question I have for you is, you have to have some vision in order to be involved with anything related to a college environment. So whether it's the academic end, the business end, sports, you have to have some vision. You have to look down the road and then prepare your program to meet the opportunities that's coming. What do you see for the future opportunity of Howard University Lacrosse, the business of lacrosse itself, and what types of things are you doing right now to help you prepare for those opportunities so you can meet them at the right time?
I'm working closely with Cameron Brock, who's the president of the Howard University Lacrosse team. I'm working with other organizations and possibly some sponsorship too involved. I know there's some nuances I have to learn about when it comes to any type of NCLL, which is National Lacrosse League sponsorship. So I'm learning the ropes right now. Before I can say which direction we're going to go in, I want to learn the ropes and make sure that we put together our business plan, our continuity plan that is going to, of course, include some type of continuity with money's coming in.
Makes sense to me. If you do your homework and do your research, then you better prepare to put your plan together. All right, Coach, God bless. We appreciate what you're doing. We're going to put this online on Roland GRIMES Show, and we're going to connect people to you and your program. God bless. Continue to do what you're doing.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Hey, folks, here on the Roland GRIMES, Not Just Sports and Entertainment Show, we have the president of the Howard University Lacrosse program, Cameron Brock. Cameron, it's good to see you. How are you today?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Great. Cameron, it's November, mid-November, just before Thanksgiving, and you guys are out here involved with lacrosse. Tell me why.
Because lacrosse in itself is a growing sport that needs to reach the black community. It's taken a long time for it to reach the black community. It's taken a long time for it to thrive in the black community. And that's something that out here, as a family, as a group, as a school community, we hope to kind of get everyone together so we can expand upon what we've already started.
Now, how did you get involved with lacrosse? When did you get involved with lacrosse? And why?
I got involved in lacrosse back in 2004 at Bishop McNamara High School, Mustang Pride.
My alma mater.
Mustang Pride.
All right.
The old football coach. I tried out for freshman football as an offensive lineman. And after a couple practices, one game, it really wasn't my thing. I wasn't really feeling the whole offensive lineman thing. And
shame on you.
I know. One of my the football coaches told me about. He said, I see you like to hit people. I see you like to condition and run. Have you ever thought about playing lacrosse? And naturally, like most black men do at that time, it was like, lacrosse. What world is that? So he introduced me to the lacrosse coach at Bishop McNamara. He checked up on me every single practice, and before I knew it, I fell in love with it. It's the contact of football, the agility of basketball, a little bit of the tactical maneuvers of soccer. It's every sport you possibly think of put together. I loved it.
Now that's extraordinary. Now, in personal history, I went to Syracuse University.
Okay.
And Syracuse University and lacrosse, they're synonymous on the college level. We have an outstanding history in terms of lacrosse. Matter of fact, that's where I really first discovered the sport, rooting for the Orangemen while I was playing football for them, rooting for the lacrosse program. Now, did you continue to play lacrosse as a college student? And if you did, where did you go to school and where did you play?
Well, originally, probably it's kind of the ebb and flow of all young black men that play lacrosse in high school is when you leave high school, you assume that either if I want to go to an HBCU, I either can do that or I can play lacrosse. There's no kind of medium to do both. And what happened was when I got to Howard University, I was working out in the Pulse in Bird Gymnasium at Howard, and I saw this guy named Daniel actually walking through with lacrosse there. And I was like, oh, you play lacrosse in the area? He said, no, I play lacrosse for Howard. And I was like, we got lacrosse here? And he was like, yeah.
So you didn't even know?
I didn't even know. And before I knew it, I came out here. It was 12 other brothers out here with me, which was already just a culture shock to me because I'm used to being,
the only one.
Exactly. That second guy, one guy amongst all these other white guys on just a team, and now all of a sudden there's just all black. And then, we took this one game, we went to Morgan State, and then we ended up playing another black university. So it's a completely black lacrosse university playing another completely black lacrosse university. Nothing wrong with, being Caucasian, but it was something that I took pride in as an African American. The fact that, I could play what I love with people from the same culture as me, people from parts of Southeast DC, people from parts of inner city Baltimore, stuff that you just never saw before.
Man, that's great. Now, After you finished playing at Howard University and graduated, you decided to come back and continue your involvement with the program. Tell me more about what you're doing with the lacrosse program here now.
Actually, this is my last year at Howard University.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Let me restate it. You're currently a student at Howard University, and you decided to continue your involvement with the lacrosse program. Tell me about that today.
Well, in continuing what I've already started to do, what people before me have already set in place, I'm pretty much helping to lay the foundation for the newer generation. Obviously, there's only so much I can accomplish in 1 year, but there's so much that other generations can accomplish succeeding the things that I do now.
Okay. Now, you are currently involved with the Howard University lacrosse program. Are you still playing for the team?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're also the president of the team?
Yes, sir.
Of the program?
Yes.
What is your role as president of this Howard University lacrosse program? What does that role entail?
It's a long list. As the president of the organization, my job and responsibilities include scheduling games, trying to get field space for us, trying to get equipment, trying to get uniforms, recruiting, relationships and communications with both press, media, outside schools, outside universities, outside entities, and just making sure all the guys have fun.
Now, while you're doing all of that, you are studying what?
Sports medicine.
Super. Now, how do you balance the time?
Well, the sleep is something that just doesn't exist at this point. At this level, you don't get that. I pretty much it's all about prioritizing. It's something that I prioritize. I show it to the freshmen, I show it to the new students as if you're going to survive in just college and even in life once you leave Howard University, you have to be able to manage your time. You have to be able to say, okay, I want to go party today, or I want to go hang out with some people today, or maybe I can skip that for today and I can do something productive.
Super. What does the future hold for Cameron Brock?
Future for Cameron Brock. Lacrosse is always going to be a part of me. It's never going anywhere. I'm always going to come back to Howard. I'm always going to come back and support my guys. As far as my own personal future, I'll probably continue coaching. Probably do a little bit of sports medicine, a little bit of physical therapy.
Super. Cameron, it's a pleasure meeting you. We're going to continue to follow you on the Roland GRIMES Not Just Sports Entertainment Show. Keep up the good work, and we look forward to your graduation.
Look forward to it too.
About the lacrosse ball, because this right here is the lethal weapon. The lethal weapon is to destroy the goal. Destroy goals with the feet, correct? You know what it was in the Native American terms when they played? Yeah. Really was. Historically, go look it up. Scoop the head up off the back. They did this for days. Historically speaking, they did it for days. Okay? Now we made it a nice game. Okay? Passing and catching stuff. One of the things that you'll get better at when you understand how to use this stick in terms of catching. Catching is the first thing. This stick right here, as light as I have it, has now become head of my stick is now my hand. Okay? There you go, son. Throw me the ball. See that? Throw me the ball again, son. See that? Throw me the ball, son. I didn't even move, do nothing, right? Do it again, son. Now my hand. Think about that. Put your sticks up. Put your sticks up. As simple as I just showed you. All right? Thank you. Come on, give it back. Here we go. Bring it back. Here we go. Slow motion. All right? Pass it here. It's good to right the head. You always want to defend the head. Okay? But the best thing you can do, right, if he's defending, is to get into his hands and his body. Once you get into this position, there's nothing you can do. If he tries to hit you here, I'm gone. You understand that, guy? You see that? So think of it as an offensive player, what you want to do.
Folks, welcome to the Roland GRIMES, not just sports and entertainment show. Here we have with us a young man named Dwayne Milton. Dwayne has been involved with lacrosse for the most part all of his life. Dwayne, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Ron.
Dwayne, you started a process several years ago where you wanted to identify and help develop, especially African Americans, in the field of lacrosse. Tell us about that.
Basically, I have been exposed to lacrosse all my life. I went to Ithaca High School, which is in the hotbed of upstate New York, and being exposed to lacrosse by older cousins, older friends of cousins who are now referees and things like that. Lacrosse has always been a big aspect in my life. Remember going to see Cornell University games, Syracuse University games, and just love the game. I was introduced to it in 10th grade and participated in a very high level. Also went to Onondaga Community College, and at that time it was one of the best lacrosse teams that was in the country at that time. After a while, I sort of backed away from lacrosse. I watched games and things like that, but never had any coaching time and or advocacy time until I embarked on a coaching career at Howard University. And started to help them with their men's and women's lacrosse programs.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you helped create that lacrosse program at Howard University, or did you come in on the back end?
Absolutely helped to create it in its in the 2000s. 2002, we started the team, but there was a team as early as 1988. It was a club program that was at Howard University. Several students started the team, and they competed for, I believe, 2 years. The program, went under for a couple of years, and when I came back in 2002, I helped to revive the program and start the club process, and we started our team at Howard University.
Now, lacrosse is not like American football, not like American basketball. It's not known as a high revenue producing sport. Absolutely. Why is it so important?
It's important to. Well, it's important to understand the historical components of lacrosse.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, the historical components of lacrosse are, that it is a Native American sport. The French missionaries came in and sort of took the game from the Native Americans. As they took the game from the Native Americans, they developed their own style of lacrosse. They took a cultural game cultural preparation for war and peace, and put their own spin on it from a French perspective, which is, it's what it is. But the reality is that the game of lacrosse is the creator's game, and it's known in the realms of lacrosse as the creator's game. And the historical significance is that we have to honor that, we have to respect that, and we have to see how that's a unifying component lacrosse is, rather than a divisive one where we're starting to see some elitism happen in the sport of lacrosse, and we need to address that.
Well, as I look at it across the landscape in the United States of America, some of your benchmark programs right now, University of Virginia, Duke, Syracuse University, University of Maryland, I don't see a lot of participation from a coaching, leadership, even player standpoint of minorities, Native American, African American, Hispanics, etc. Why is that happening?
Well, I mean, we can look at it from a bunch of different perspectives. I have my own perspective, which I'd like to give, and it comes from a course of study and experience and those kind of things. I really feel that lacrosse, which is probably one of the only games left on a larger scale that has the majority of players there, that they're white. There's an elite feeling in lacrosse that we own this game, and I think that in terms of protecting the game, they have the guards around the game. And so when you have the guards around the game, they're only going to allow who they would like to be a part of the expansion of lacrosse, the growth of lacrosse, the diversity of lacrosse, and they're going to do it in their own way, their own realm. And I think that leads to further discrimination and lack of participation and inclusion in the game of lacrosse.
Okay, well, that's nothing new in America in and of itself. What are some of those governing bodies or some of those associations that perpetuate that elitism and that divisiveness that you speak of?
Well, one of the things that we did at Howard University was we looked at how we could introduce a diversity plan to the U.S. lacrosse governing body. It's led by Steve Stennerson. And one of the things that we did was we wanted to sit down and we wanted to talk about the growth of lacrosse, the diversity of lacrosse, how we can expand the game into communities of the underserved. And one of the things that happened from the meetings that we had, were coming out of the meeting as an adversarial group. And one of the things that our leadership body at the National Black Lacrosse Leadership didn't understand is how we would become labeled as adversarial when we're trying to do the work that's not presently being done, and we're offering a plan with the collaboration with the U.S. lacrosse governing body so that we can go into these underserved neighborhoods and open up programs, introduce the equipment, have camps and clinic skills things, and talk about how academically, if you're doing well and you're participating in lacrosse, there's an easy way that you can get a scholarship to a division school. So the lack of diversity, or the idea of being diverse, when you look at the data that's out there, there was a study done at Cornell University which did a study for 40 years in lacrosse in terms of the participation and diversity of lacrosse, and they dealt specifically with African Americans. In over 40 years, the percentage of African Americans in the game of lacrosse on all of the division schools, Division I, Division II, Division III, JUCOs, is only 1.3%. And if that's sustained over 40 years, that is not diversity. And whoever is holding on to this idea that that is diversity, we're trying to open up the conversation about that so we can have some change.
Okay. What types of things do you think need to happen to help develop the sport in terms of the youngsters growing up, getting exposed to it early? And what kinds of things can they do to get engaged with this game as early as 7, 8, 9 years old?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is that we don't need to recreate the wheel. We don't need to recreate the model. We might need to season it a little bit and get a little soul in there. But what we need to do is just basically have the courage to go into underserved neighborhoods, and there are some initiatives. I can't solely dump on U.S. Lacrosse. They do have a bridge program, and we just need to expand that a little further because there are many kids out there that would benefit from the exposure of lacrosse. We have to have the courage to open up the camps and be sponsors for equipment, especially those who are in positions financially to do that, from corporations to individual donations, whatever it is. Develop camps where there's African Americans and all African Americans in the underserved communities. And we can have camps and clinics, and we can have teachings.
Let me interrupt for a second. Let's go back to that point. You said on a couple of occasions that we have to have courage. What does that mean?
I think it's having courage to go against the status quo. Whatever there is that exists, we should be able to have the courage to either work within the system and maintain your integrity, right? But also question the authority, question the leadership, and insert ideas into the present model that's there. So having the courage to change, having the courage to speak up, especially when you believe it would fit one and or help.
But that's something that we're supposed to learn from the time we're in elementary school. Why does it require courage?
Well, it's one of those things that you have to have. If you don't have courage to be agent of change, especially an agent of change in a situation where that there's some wrongs that have been done, or some lack of inclusion, lack of diversity, whatever you want to say, you have to be able to understand that courage is right, it's not wrong, and that your voice is, your voice should be heard. You should be able to add into present models and systems and those kind of things without feeling like you're going to be, have any backlash.
So if I understand correctly, if I hear you accurately,
sure,
then the courage comes in because if you engage in this process to try to perpetuate this change or inclusion that you're talking about,
sure,
you run some kind of inherent risk. What are the risks? Alienation, loss of money, loss of resource, loss of support. People gonna kick you out your neighborhood. What are we talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it right on. Hit the nail on the head. It's one of those things where all of those things are at risk. And in the sport of lacrosse, mainly it's mainstream Division I lacrosse players who do very well for themselves, and they become ambassadors for the sport. They begin to be paid by STX and the big corporate giants that are making millions of dollars. And if you speak out about things in terms of inclusion and diversity, and you're African American, and you would like to do that in a place that's underserved, you do run some risk. And there's a model that's set up that they want you to fit in, and if you don't generally fit into it because it's not a model set up for underserved neighborhoods, you run a risk of either them saying, well, we're not going to support this, and those kind of things. So that's why the National Black Lacrosse Leadership, in its inception, we wanted to take the model and almost mirror what U.S. Lacrosse was doing, but we're going to do it in the underserved neighborhoods with African Americans and the underserved.
Now, interestingly enough, many years ago, I was a part of a similar grassroots, so to speak, process with tennis. I remember Hillcrest Heights, Maryland. They began, the folks there began a tennis development program. Arthur Ashe had just had a lot of success in the sport. He was from the Washington, D.C. area. And we were all playing basketball and football. For whatever reason, those are the two sports that either we migrated to or that accepted African Americans very readily. And sports like tennis, golf, lacrosse, they were seen either as a white sport, or when we went to try those sports, we encountered a lot of resistance and backlash. Now, when that happens to you at 7 years old, you never forget it. So even when you become 77, you still have that thought in mind that when I try to pick up a tennis racket or a lacrosse stick or a golf club, somebody smacked me in my head. So for the rest of your life, a lot of times you end up trying to tell the youngsters and other people, hey, don't mess with this because I don't want you to go through the pain I went through when I tried this sport.
Absolutely.
And then it takes someone to break that barrier and for the corporations that you're talking about to accept it, etc.
We started the Black Lacrosse Hall of Fame. And I really want to go back to how the National Black Lacrosse Leadership came into existence. And I'll try to shorten it up and summarize it very quickly. Basically, the Duke debacle back then, you had a black woman who was supposedly raped by the frat house at Duke University, and the students were white, and there was a big thing with the DA, Nifong and things. and I'm summarizing here. Basically what happened is the young lady lied. The mass media and everyone jumped on it and talked about the elitism and white power and prominence and those kind of things. And it turned out that the African American young lady was, she lied. She had been accused of it before, and now she's up for murder. So that's something that she's being charged in a murder case. Okay, so there's some things that are there that we need to address as the National Black Lacrosse Leadership. That at that time when we started the National Black Lacrosse Leadership, it was not for any other reason other than there was a silence that happened from U.S. Lacrosse. We didn't hear anything about the condemnation of the alleged act, not claiming anyone was guilty, but that if this ever would happen, where is your stance, U.S. Lacrosse? And there was a silence, so all of the African American coaches with lacrosse programs started to get together, and we wrote to them, U.S. Lacrosse, and we asked them, can you please break your silence and condemn this this allegation, right, wrong, or indifferent. We hope that you would be able to speak out about that, because I think people in the lacrosse world are looking for direction. You're the governing body, you're the lead, you're not here. Where are you? And so after we didn't get responses in a timely manner, we got together and we said, you know what? National Black Lacrosse Leadership is now going to be our voice. It's going to be the group that we get together and we strategize, and we start to have the inclusion and diversity of lacrosse, and we start to begin to have our voice. So when you're talking about what are the steps that we are taking now, what is the future? The first launch we had was the National Black, the Black Lacrosse Hall of Fame. And we inducted Jim Brown and Sherry Greer, Tina Sloan Green, Miles Harrison, and William Evans. One of the things that I thought was good was that because there was this lack of inclusion, because at that time there were only 2 African Americans on the U.S. Lacrosse Hall of Fame, what we could do was have our own and recognize our own. They have micro regional Hall of Fames, and they recognize people from different areas around the United States. So we figured, hey, we'll go ahead and do the same thing on a broader scale, and no problem. We had attendance from, I would say, about at that time 110, 115 people, but they were key people in lacrosse. Steve Sanderson was there, Kyle Harrison was there, Drew Evans from Maryland University was there. Major key players in the lacrosse world attended this. And basically, what we said was that we were going to start to have camps and clinics. And we started the Soul Lacrosse Camp Clinic, which is something that was headlined by Jim Brown. We had the Melting Pot in Baltimore, Maryland, which was a huge camp. We had over 400 teams come in and play lacrosse. And we talked about diversity, and we talked about friendship, and we talked about inclusion, and we talked about how we can make the game of lacrosse what it should be based on the love of the differences of people in terms of culture are in the game of lacrosse, and that was very successful. So we're going to continue to model those things. Okay. We're going to continue to have the Black Lacrosse Hall of Fame in 2013, February, during Black History Month. And we see, with just as recent as the Jovan Miller situation, where he singly boycotted the corporation that creates all the uniforms for the Major Lacrosse League. They're called Warrior, and he boycotted them because of a statement, "Ninja, please." Well, he went on Twitter, he said, "I'm boycotting this, I will not play professional lacrosse until Warrior apologizes."
The word was ninja, or you're just paraphrasing?
No. The corporate phrase that was used for shoes through Warrior, lacrosse shoes through Warrior, the subtitle was "Ninja, please." Okay. And he started a single boycott and protest. He would not use the uniforms, and therefore he's not playing professional lacrosse for the team because they're going to continue to wear the Warrior uniforms. Now, they've come back and said, "Hey, we apologize. We didn't know we were offending you, but we're moving on with this in an arrogant kind of way." And so the National Black Lacrosse Leadership is standing with Jovan Miller in his boycott, because he's a 20-year-old 4.0 GPA student from the Syracuse University Maxwell School of Citizenship. Okay, and so he's standing for something in principle that he needs other people to stand with him if they really love the game of lacrosse and understand the statement "Ninja, please" as offensive and racist.
Well, one thing's for certain, if he went to Maxwell, they taught him to do the very thing that he's doing right now.
Absolutely.
Stand on principle and advance citizenship. Thank you for Maxwell School of Citizenship, Syracuse University. That's just a shameless commercial plug for
That's
the
right.
university. All right, but let's go back for a second, and I'm going to close in saying this or asking a few questions now, sort of a bullet style. First thing is, you just had a combine at Howard University. Tell me who was involved in that combine and why.
Well, I was formerly the head coach at Howard University, and I've always kept a close tie on Howard University and their lacrosse programs. I definitely want to mention the fact that they have the only all-African-American varsity level women's team as well, which I believe the world should know about and needs to know about. One of the things that we did is come into Howard University, and we did a skills camp. They did 40-yard dashes. I showed them some exercises that would help them in the game of lacrosse. We talked about some techniques in terms of catching the ball and passing, and some very fundamentally basic skills that they could use to help them advance their game. And it's the Thanksgiving weekend. A lot of the students were not there, but what we're going to do is we're going to continue that to try to advance the skill level of the players. And so those kind of events are things that we'll sponsor.
You had some high school students there, you had some
Absolutely.
alums, and you had some current players.
Absolutely.
Man, that's great. Now, I did speak with the president of the Howard University Lacrosse, Mr. Cameron Lacrosse, and something that he's decided to be involved in since that time, and wants to continue to be involved with it, both as an undergraduate student and hopefully as a graduate student if he gets accepted into the graduate program next year when he applies. Well, I think that's quite a credit to both Coach Thompson and for Cameron taking an opportunity and take that risk, because of course he risked being alienated from his peers, a young African American kid being involved with a sport where most African Americans weren't even paying attention to at that time, and then of course sort of blazing a trail for others after him and continuing to do it right now. Having said that, in terms of that clinic and that combine at Howard University, are there other HBCUs or other clubs or programs out there that you can mention right now who are as progressively engaged in this sport as you are?
Yeah, I'll go from the aspect of being the director of the National Black Lacrosse Leadership. I've heard from Johnson C. Smith University, Norfolk State, Hampton University, Morehouse, Morgan State, and Howard University. That's 6 African American schools that have programs, have lacrosse programs, club level and or varsity.
Okay.
My thing is that because of this minuscule, tiny kind of creation of the sport, I believe that it needs to be put in high speed. And I think that the National Black Lacrosse Leadership is going to embark on trying to put this thing into overdrive.
So you think this process needs to be accelerated?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the reason being is because, in my opinion, in the studies and the things that we've done, my experiences, talking with people, if the historically black colleges and universities were to pick up the sport of lacrosse, first of all, it would be another recruiting. Also, you have to look at it as from a niche market kind of standpoint. You have these corporate giants who are making millions, sometimes billions of dollars with lacrosse apparel. They're looking at how many eyes are looking at the uniforms and what they created, the socks, the shoes, the cleats, the pants, the boom. And when you have these kind of corporations like Warrior and STX and Brine and Harrow who say, you know what, let's do some things where we're incorporating and helping to diversify the game of lacrosse by giving the uniforms to the teams and helping them to create them with dollars and building the programs. So now, not only are they helping themselves out, which is fine, but they're also helping to build, the programs so that now more people are exposed to the game, and therein lies inclusion and diversity through that realm. So I feel that historically black colleges and universities need to pick up the programs and jump into that niche market. I think it'd be beneficial for everybody.
Okay, so you think, in closing, you think that if the corporate communities can be encouraged to participate at a very high and progressive level, and then the universities, the high schools, the communities, and if you're able to get these different entities to pick up the torch and advance this cause, that the entire sport will be accelerated, the history will be preserved, maintained, respected, and advanced, and that it would be a sport that would continue to flourish not only in the United States of America, but all over the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, super. Mr. Miller, we thank you for this opportunity to meet with you and talk to you. If folks want to connect with you, either by email, phone, or website, can you give us that information?
Yes, you can contact me directly through my email. It is dtraining, DTRAINING 214 and look out for our website, nationalblacklacrosseleadership.org, and Soul of Lacrosse, which is going to be the African American Lacrosse Foundation and the National Black Hall of Fame. So look out for that coming in February 2013.
Super. We will. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.